Hi, everybody. Welcome to our program. I'm Tom.
Hi, I'm Stephanie.
And this is English Digest. And today, of course, we're going to be talking about food.
Yay!
In the modern world. And, of course, we're talking about something called grocerants, which is not really a common term, so don't try to use this in conversation just yet. It might be common in the future, but what this word is a combination of the word grocery, which is food you buy from a market or a supermarket, and restaurant. So it's kind of a combination of a grocery store and a restaurant. For modern people who don't have time to shop for groceries and go home and cook up their meals, they're just too busy.
Yeah, I was reading an article with Tom, and the grocery stores in general are getting a lot of competition from the hyper stores or the hypermarkets, hypermarts, like Costco, Walmart, Sam's Club. So in order to compete more with them, they've started offering a lot of food that's been prepared that people can buy and take home, or maybe even sit at a table inside that supermarket and eat. So this is what a grocerant is. And it is a term that is used in the food industry. So if you work in the grocery industry, of course, you'll have heard of this before. But I hadn't seen it before until today. So yeah, it is a new term. But it's kind of fun to learn new terms that have just been created recently. So let's get started. We've got a conversation here with some people. Leah, Marcus, and Jay. Jay's usually a guy, Marcus is a guy, and Leah is a girl. So I'm going to be Leah. Let's get started. Oh, we've got a customer too. We'll figure out who's going to do that one.
A supermarket's marketing team is in a meeting.
Let's get started on today's topic. While we've been expecting more young consumers to shop at our supermarket, they haven't exactly been coming out in droves. We've looked at some of the latest market research, and it seems the millennial generation isn't as keen to shop for ingredients to make home-cooked meals as its predecessors.
That's no surprise considering that millennials often work longer hours than previous generations. They don't have as much time to consider the planning that goes into home cooking. I see what you mean, but constantly going out to restaurants takes a toll on finances. What other options do they have?
That's what we're here to talk about today. It seems the market has been taking a turn toward a kind of hybrid eating experience. Not grocery stores, not restaurants, but grocerants. With this trend, grocery stores are now offering more ready-to-eat meals that people can simply pick out and take home. It saves both time and money.
Well, the idea of a grocerant does pique my interest. Is our store thinking of going in a similar direction? I don't know how I feel about it. We'd be spending a lot of money to make over the store.
That's money we'll make back in the long run. If we want to keep customers coming in, we need to stay current.
I fully agree with that. I suppose you're right. Let's get some ideas written down then. Okay, everybody, it's time for us to discuss the contents of today's lesson. It's a meeting going on between Leah, Marcus, and Jay, and they're discussing something called grocerants. So here's our title, A New Grocery Shopping Experience, Grocerants. Now, of course, I guess we should point out that grocery shopping in the United States is different from how groceries are shopped for here in Taiwan.
Yeah.
I think people here use traditional markets a lot more than people in America do. Based on my experience, we buy all our groceries at supermarkets, okay? Or even more these days at hypermarts like Walmart and Target. They've all got these food sections where you can buy your groceries and stuff like that. But yeah, we don't really go to traditional markets so much, although they do have farmers markets on the weekends.
Yeah.
But that's still pretty rare.
Those are very special. We had a farmer's market in New York on Saturday and Sunday, and I would go and I would pick up pies and jams and baked bread and yeah, but no, we don't really have traditional markets like you guys do here. So they're talking about changing the shopping experience. And this conversation is between some people who work in marketing for a supermarket. And we've got Leah, Marcus, and Jay. I was saying to Tom, Marcus is kind of the negative guy here. He sounds like he's probably in an older generation and doesn't really want to change things and kind of shake up the way things are done.
He's more conservative, more set in his ways.
True.
But Leah is directing the meeting. So again, they're having a meeting for the marketing team. And so Leah begins the conversation. She says, hey, let's get started on today's topic. We're going to discuss something today. This is the subject of our discussion. And she begins by saying, while we've been expecting more young customers to shop at our supermarket, they haven't exactly been coming out in droves. So they're members of a supermarket. They work at a supermarket here. And I guess they had some market projections. And so they were expecting more business. They thought more young consumers would come and shop at their supermarket. But that hasn't really happened. She says these young consumers haven't exactly been coming out in droves. Maybe they have been coming in larger numbers, but not as many as we expected. So if you talk about something being in droves, that just means you have a large amount of something. When a fast food restaurant comes out with a new burger, people come in droves because they all want to eat that new burger. I remember many years ago, I think McDonald's came out with some Hello Kitty dolls.
Ooh.
And people came out in droves to get them. There were big lines at the McDonald's stores to get those Hello Kitty dolls. Yes, they came out in droves.
Yeah, I'll bet. Those were popular. So she says we've looked at some of the latest market research, and it seems the millennial generation isn't as keen to shop for ingredients to make home-cooked meals as its predecessors. Yeah, so if you're in marketing, you're going to be doing a lot of market research. You look at a lot of the data that supermarkets collect every time you go to the store. Everything you buy is part of their research. Especially if you have one of those membership cards, they track everything you buy, which is one of the reasons why I usually don't want one of their cards, although it gives you discount, prices on some of their products, but they're tracking everything you buy. So that's market research, where you spend a lot of time studying data, and through the study of data, you come to some conclusions about what's happening in the world and what might you do as a marketer to better sell a product or appeal to your market audience. So it looks like, or she says it seems like, the millennial generation, and those are the kids in their 20s and early 30s, they're not as keen or excited to shop for ingredients and cook those home-cooked meals, which usually takes an hour or two. It's not fast to cook at home necessarily. I love it here because I pick up things on the way home to eat, which is very convenient. So if you're talking about the millennials, again, it's the kids that were born during a certain period of time. We've got different generations these days. We describe them differently. The X generation, the millennial generation. You guys have different terms sometimes. I know you guys have the strawberry generation. The millennials for us are the 20s, early 30s. But a generation is a group of people who are all born and grew up around the same time. And keen here is the American definition means excited, but they use this word a lot more in British English than we do in American English, but you should know what it means. To be keen to do something is to be excited, kind of, wanting to do something a lot. Ingredients are the things you put into those home-cooked dishes or meals. And just buying all the ingredients can be expensive, I think.
Yeah, I think in my parents' generation, of course, it was more traditional. My mother stayed home and was a housekeeper.
She worked, too.
Well, actually, I should say
that
she was a
work.
housewife.
Yeah.
Yes, but that is work in a different way, but at least she was preparing those meals. But nowadays, both mom and dad are working, and so nobody's home to cook the meals. Dad's certainly not going to do it. And so, of course, nowadays we have to rely on going to restaurants, and nobody really knows how to cook anymore. I understand, people just don't really learn how to cook anymore. So that's their problem here. The millennials are just not keen on buying those ingredients, vegetables, meat, spices, things like that, to make those home-cooked meals, and they're not as keen on doing that as their predecessors, or the people who came before them, which would be, yes, like my parents' generation. Predecessor, of course, that refers to the people who came before you.
Yeah, you could even use predecessor, though, as someone who had your job before they left the company and you took over. They're your predecessor. Here you could also use ancestors, I guess, people in your family who lived before you. Moving on, what does Marcus say? Well, that's no surprise, considering that millennials often work longer hours than previous generations. I don't know if that's true. Seems like people worked long hours here decades ago as well. But the truth is that more women are working. So there's no one home to cook unless you have a wonderful mother-in-law that is busy chopping up vegetables and cooking for you. And if you're lucky enough to have that, well, that's great.
Okay, or maybe you have a very ambitious father, but they often have to work overtime and attend meetings and go on business trips and stuff like that. So indeed, it's not surprising because millennials are working those long hours, longer than previous generations. They don't have as much time to consider the planning that goes into home cooking. That is true. I used to work at a restaurant myself, so I know a few things about cooking, but still working at home and cooking a fresh meal every day is a lot of work. That's just a big burden for people who have a full-time job. So you pretty much have no choice but to eat out most of the time, at least for me here in Taiwan.
It's pretty cheap here, too, to go to a restaurant.
Oh, there are lots of different choices to go to, and you can get some nice, tasty niuro mian, in your neighborhood store pretty easily. And here's what Jay says. He says, I see what you mean. I understand what you're talking about there, but constantly going out to restaurants takes a toll on finances. So here we have a phrase, take a toll on something, which means it causes a great deal of damage to something. For example, working many hours can take a toll on your health. So you need to have a vacation once in a while, or you shouldn't work 14 hours a day, things like that, because it will take a toll on your health. It will damage your health. In this particular case, going out to restaurants all the time can take a toll on your finances, which means basically your money, how much money you have to spend on groceries. You probably won't be able to save a lot of money for next year's trip to Europe.
So what other options do they have? Options here just means choices. What other choices do you have? I'm very grateful that there are a lot of very affordable options in terms of food here. You could go to a stall and pick up some noodles, or go to a buffet, Chinese buffet, 自助餐, and pick up some stuff. There's one right next to my building, which is great. So I can just run in there and grab some vegetables when I need to. So that's kind of nice. So Leah says, well, that's why we're here today, guys. We got to talk about this. Since our millennials aren't coming in like we thought they would, how can we lure them in or attract them? Lure means to entice or to attract people to do something. She says it seems the market has been taking a turn or changing toward a kind of hybrid eating experience. Hybrid just means you take different types of things and you combine them. Usually it's for an improved product or plant. There are hybrid plants that they grow that are better in terms of resisting insects and pests and things like that. There are hybrid cars where it's half gasoline, half electricity. Here they're talking about a hybrid eating experience.
Right, an eating experience that is a mixture of two different concepts here. We'll find out what she means here in just a second. Here it says, not grocery stores, not restaurants, but grocerants. Okay, so it's not really a grocery store or a supermarket, and it's not really a restaurant. It's kind of something in between.
Yeah.
It's a mixture or hybrid of the two. And, of course, it's called a grocerant. And with this trend, with this tendency, grocery stores are now offering more ready-to-eat meals that people can simply pick out and take home. So, yes, all you got to do is stop in at a grocery store or a supermarket, and you have a selection of ready-made meals there, ready-to-eat meals.
Cool.
They're already prepared. They're already cooked. They're nice and warm there. You just need to pick one out. You need to choose one or select one, and then you just simply take it home. You might even take home several for your breakfast the next day or lunch the next day or for several meals during the week, and you just take it home and eat the meal there, or you get it ready to put in the refrigerator and heat it up in the microwave in the future.
Well, Jay says the idea of a grocerant does pique my interest. Pique here is spelled P-I-Q-U-E. It doesn't mean to look quickly at something, to peek at somebody from behind an object. Here it just means to arouse your interest or get your interest going. Is our store thinking of going in a similar direction? Marcus is a little negative. He said, I don't know. We'd be spending a lot of money to make over the store. To make over the store means to kind of transform the store, make some modifications so it can accommodate some of these ready-to-eat meals. I love those, though. So Leah says that's money we'll make back in the long run. Sometimes you have to pay money up front to make money in the long run or in the long term. You could also say the long term, short run. We use both those phrases. So she thinks if we want to keep customers coming in, we need to stay current. We need to be up to date on how we're marketing and selling food to our customers.
Indeed. You know, this sounds similar to what convenience stores are doing. Of course, they're offering seating and those ready-made meals that you can heat up in the microwave there if you have a busy work schedule. So I suppose that is similar to the grocerant here. And, of course, they want to keep current. They want to keep up to date with current trends. And Jay says, I fully agree with that. I totally agree with what you're saying. Marcus says, well, I suppose you're right. Let's get some ideas written down then. So it looks like they are on their way to becoming a grocerant in the future, and hopefully they'll be able to attract more millennial customers. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of a time out now and listen to our Chinese teacher, but please stay tuned for some extra dialogues and a discussion question.
Hello everyone, my name is Tina. 今天要探讨的主题呢是餐饮复合式的超市，我们称之为 grocerants。当然它是从 grocery store 跟 restaurants 这两个字呢结合在一起的。首先我们来看一下 Leah 所说的后面的句子提到 We've looked at some of the latest market research and it seems the millennial generation isn't as keen to shop for ingredients to make home-cooked meals as its predecessors. 在这里我们提到呢，他说莉亚跟他的同事呢看了一些最新的市场调查，发现这千禧世代并不像他们之前的世代一样热衷于采买食材在家做饭。首先我们来看到呢，在这里的 millennial 指的就是千禧的，而The millennial generation 也就是千禧世代哦，而这里所提到的 predecessor 则是有前任跟前辈的意思。举例来说，他正努力超越他的前辈，你就可以说 He is working hard to excel his predecessors. 而 predecessor 还可以延伸出来，解释成为被取代的原有事物。The new proposal is better than its predecessor. 指的就是新的建议呢，比起以前的要来得好。接着我们继续来看到呢，Jay 所说的这一句话 I see what you mean, but constantly going out to restaurants takes a toll on finances. 在这里呢 Jay 提到，我当然了解你的想法咯，但是经常呢外出上馆子会让你的荷包大失血。在这里我们来看一下 toll 这个名词，它本来解释成为路或者是桥的通行费，不过它还有一个重要的意思，叫做损失或者是伤亡人数。我们常听到的 the death toll 就是指的是死亡人数。那如果说某个东西 take a heavy toll on， 也就是表示呢对某个事物造成了损害或者是破坏。举例来说，这种压力呢开始影响到了他们的婚姻，造成了损害，你就可以说 The stress was beginning to take a heavy toll on their marriage。所以常常外出上馆子会造成你的 finances， 你的财务呢，也就是荷包会有严重的损害。后面的句子提到 What other options do they have？ 那还有其他什么选择呢？Option 指的就是一种选择权或者是选择的自由。举个例子来说，他为了照顾小孩子别无选择，只好辞职，你就可以说 She had no option but to quit her job in order to take care of her child。接着 Leah 就提出来了 grocerants， 也就是超市餐厅这个点子。后面的句子提到 With this trend, grocery stores are now offering more ready-to-eat meals that people can simply pick out and take home。 Trend 指的就是一种潮流趋势，所以呢顺应这样子的潮流呢，那么在超市里面它就提供了更多可以直接食用的餐点，我们称之为 ready to eat meals， 这样人们就可以去拿取它带回家吃咯。Jay 听到了这个话则说 Well, the idea of a grocerant does pique my interest。Pique 这个字呢，本来是有使生气、激怒的意思，在这里是解释成为刺激或是激起某人的好奇心或者是兴趣。举例来说 That incident piqued my curiosity， 也就是说那个事件呢激起了我的好奇心。Marcus 则是回应，这样一来如果要让顾客上门，就必须要花很多钱来翻修店面咯。所以 Marcus 说 We'd be spending a lot of money to make over the store。 Makeover 也就是有改造、改变的意思。车库被改造成了书房，你就可以说 The garage has been made over into a study。莉亚则是回应，其实呢，虽然花了钱装修，但是这些钱以后是可以赚得回来的。If we want to keep customers coming in, we need to stay current。如果我们想要让顾客持续上门，我们就必须要跟得上时代。在这里的 current 指的呢，就是呢跟上时代，当前的、现行的。它也可以解释成为是一种流行的或跟得上时代的。举例来说 This view was current in the country， 指的是当时这种看法呢在那个国家是非常流行的。 OK， 以上就是今天的课文讲解，谢谢收听。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. And now we've got some extra dialogues here. So I'll be the man in these conversations.
Well,
and you'll be the woman, okay?
The first one I have to be a guy too, so.
Okay, well.
Unless you talk to yourself.
I will talk to myself.
Oh, talk to yourself, okay.
So here's Jay. He begins by saying, What are our most important considerations for what kind of food we'll serve? Well, we need it to be tasty and nutritious. We should also have foods for different dietary needs. Okay, so that's the first conversation here between two boys. And let's see, the most important considerations for the menu, what kind of food they're going to serve. Yes, indeed, they do need to make that decision.
Well, they need to taste good. That's really important. But the second point here, they need to be nutritious. That's not always easy. Marcus also brings up a really important point. We should also have foods for different dietary needs. Some people are vegetarians, some people are vegans, some people are diabetic and can't eat too many carbs or sugar, which is bad for them. So that's something you really should keep in mind. I have never eaten a meal at a convenience store because they look like they would be really fattening, but they look tasty, I must say.
Indeed. So you need to take those things into consideration. And here's the next conversation. Hey, you can be a woman now.
This is me. Hello, sir. I noticed you're browsing our store's new ready-to-eat meals. What do you think of the new grocerant section?
I love it. It saved me time in the evenings, and my kids all think the food is delicious.
Awesome. So here is someone who actually works for the supermarket, and she's actually going out and doing a survey on her own. It's really good to talk to your customers to see what they really like. I like that. I like doing surveys face-to-face and actually meeting real customers who buy your products so you get a better feel for what they like and dislike. Good plan there. Here's the next one. Go ahead, Marcus.
Okay, Marcus begins this conversation by saying, great news. Customer response to the grocerant has been overwhelmingly positive.
That's wonderful. Great job, team. This couldn't have happened without your help.
Now, remember, of course, they had a meeting there between Marcus J. and Leah. So, they're trying to figure out ways to improve business here and to set up this grocerant. So, of course, they set it up and they try it out and they see if customers like it, if they buy stuff. And here Marcus says, hey, we've got some great news. This idea has been a success. Customer response to our grocerant has been positive, overwhelmingly positive, which means really, really, really positive. They just love it. We did the right thing.
So here is a discussion question. I'll ask you, Tom, first. Do you typically eat out in restaurants, cook at home, or do something else?
Well, I'd have to say because of my busy lifestyle here in Taipei, we eat out quite a bit. We do cook at home sometimes, or sometimes, as I've said earlier, we stop off at the convenience store and have a microwaved meal there along with a drink and maybe a dessert. How about you?
Sometimes I cook at home, but not usually. Takes a long time. And there's too much food left over, which I eat too much of. I typically will pick something up on my way home. Either noodles or a rice dish or typically something that's just in my neighborhood and very convenient. Or I'll go get a salad at Subway.
Okay, so we hope all of you can have a discussion amongst yourselves as interesting as the one that we have just had. And that brings us to the end of our lesson for today. Thank you so much for joining us. And please join us again next time when we continue to talk about grocerants. Until then, from all of us here at English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie. Bye.
Goodbye.